role of a director is becoming increasingly complex, and indeed many directors are asking me about their liability and how do they demonstrate that they've been able to efficiently and effectively perform their duties at law. The answer to that is the board meeting minutes. So board meeting minutes are the legal evidence of the board's meeting, and indeed increasingly they're used to both prosecute and defend directors. The Corporations Act and constitutions require that board meeting minutes are kept. Board meeting minutes also have another really important purpose, and that is that they're a record for the executives as to what they need to action post board meetings. So what makes for effective board minutes? And there's a couple of things that I think directors should look for, and indeed I encourage all directors to read draft minutes really carefully to make sure that some of these key elements are covered. So firstly, board meeting minutes should always reflect how conflicts of interest are being managed. Secondly, it's useful to look at the level of detail, and there's two bookends here. On the one hand, board meeting minutes could be just pure resolutions of the board. On the other hand, they could be a verbatim transcript. And of course, the answer is that we shouldn't be at either of those bookends, but rather somewhere in the middle. What we're really trying to do in the minutes is distill the key matters that were considered by the board, the key reasons for their decision, the matters on which they challenged management, not just noted information, and the way in which the board exercised business judgment, how they balanced risk with reward. And that's really what we're trying to capture. Indeed, if we look at the business judgment rule under the Corporations Act, there's 4 elements, and those 4 elements are a really good guide to how you should draft board meeting minutes. So it might look a little bit like the board considered this issue, the board considered a list of bullet points, the board resolved, or the board asked management for additional information. Having really effective board briefing papers is also really useful for effective board minutes, because what you can do is leave the detail in the board briefing paper and instead just reference it rather than repeat that detail in the minutes themselves. Board meeting minutes also shouldn't, as a rule, include individual director contributions or points raised. And that's unless there's a particular reason that a director's asked for that or there's some other factor. But rather, the board meeting minutes should be representative of the board's collective consideration and decision making. Key to effective board minute taking is an effective company secretary, and I'm going to talk about that in another post. But my final tip for all directors is make sure you read board meeting minutes, that they accord with your recollection of the meeting and that you think they've met some of those key elements that I've talked about.